Hello, Christopher's YouTube channel, Quarantine 2020, and today I wanted to show you how you can make soil really cheap, like, maybe $1 to fill up a big old pot. Now, one of the main problems I have with gardening is, preparing the beds, preparing the soil. A lot of times I live in a suburban area. I don't live in the country with a big old acre of land. And there's nowhere you can get wood chips around here. Only mulch you can get is when you buy it from some company or whatever, which can be very pricey. And trying to get some wood chips from Entergy, but it's a hassle to get that, and you really got to stay on top of them to get that, but I'm still trying, so I haven't gotten any yet this year. On my garden, I've been having to buy mulch. Anyway, so today I'm gonna show you how to make some soil for really cheap. I'm talking about not no soil you get at the store, and half of the soil you buy at the store isn't gonna feed your plants for very long. This soil will feed your plants. This soil will feed your plants the whole time you're growing. You do not need to worry about fertilizing or nothing, because all the nutrition they need is going to be already in there. So, one of the tricks I learned over the years was, you can't go out and buy. You can't just go out and buy a bunch of this. It gets expensive. Like $10 a bag. This is a cheap potting mix, but this stuff here was $10, and it is 2 cubic feet. 2 cubic feet. So that's not a lot of soil when you're trying to fill up a lot of pots like this. Alright. So you got a pot like this size, and that soil, probably plant a couple of them. But I'm not looking to spend that much money, because I have a lot more plants to plant. Like, I don't know, this is I need to get a camera, but all of these plants I gotta plant, and I don't know why my computer is lagging really bad today, and it's kind of hard to show you. Yeah, all of these plants I gotta plant eventually. Not gonna all get done today, and all of these plants I gotta plant. So, not to mention, I have all of these plants I want to plant down the road. But I still have my garden beds outside, so that's going to help me out a lot. Right now I want to plant some potted plants, because I don't have a whole lot of room outside. So I want to get some plants in the pots. So here's how I do it. I'm going to show you the mixture that I use. Now, you could buy these 3 cubic foot bags of peat moss, like up there, for like $10. Maybe, I think some people paying $12. I got that one for like 10, I think. So $10 is a pretty good price for 3 cubic feet of soil. But the problem with that is it doesn't have any nutrients. So you have to find a way to get nutrients into your potting mix. And you might have, like my problem, is you don't want to pay a bunch of money to get the potting soil nutrients. And even if you paid the money, it's still not going to be enough to fertilize all your plants. So what I do, I take a little bucket, not a big bucket, but a little bucket, and this will be my measuring cup. You don't want a little measuring cup, because you're dealing with a bulk of soil here. So you want like this is just so you can measure your components. I do peat moss. I start out with my peat moss because it's dry. And I'm going to fill up that bucket 2 times. Alright, well anyway. That's pretty close, but I almost filled it up. Yeah, let me do this other one. Here. Alright, this is used peat moss actually, so I'm kind of cheating. I used this for potatoes, and my potatoes, they didn't do too good because when I put them in the ground, they were starting to go bad. And, well, then I let my soil dry out. I don't know. But they didn't do good at all. I didn't even get what I put into it. And anyway, so that was one. And now I'm going to do one more scoop of peat moss, one more bucket. So as you can see, I got about half a bucket here. And now I need to go get more. So, oh, my peat moss is right here. So yeah, let me go. Okay, so now I got 2 buckets of peat moss. And that's your first ingredient. Now peat moss is cheap, but like I said before, it has no nutrients in it. But it does fill up the pot, and it also retains moisture, and it also holds, you know, roots. So that's what you want. And right now, my second ingredient is going to be 1 scoop, 1 bucket of the potting mix. This is going to add a little fertilizer to it, but this is not the main ingredient, obviously. It's also going to provide, you know, some perlite, some other things to allow for better drainage. Allow the pot to have better drainage, because you need good drainage in your pots. So, boom, that's 1 scoop. Now the next one is, I got some homemade compost. I'm going to do another video how I go through my homemade compost, how I make it, or how I sift it, or whatever. So, I'm going to show you the compost in 1 minute. Hold on. Get right here. This is, just keep everything separated, because obviously you don't want to combine it right away. You want to kind of make sure you get the same measurements, because you want something that works, you know? Anyway, so this is going to provide the plants with a lot of nutrients, but it's not all the nutrients. So you can see the compost is pretty fine, and it's kind of sandy as well, so it's gonna actually help the drainage. It's gonna provide nutrients. This isn't the main thing though. This is a big part of the soil mixture. You have to have your compost, so that's a big part. Now, there is one more ingredient to your mixture. Let's see if I can get y'all. Yeah. So you see how now I got my worm bin here. I got 2 worm bins. This is a worm bin and this is a worm bin. For now, I'm gonna use this worm bin because it's just easier for me to show y'all how easy this is. So I'm using the Worm Factory 360. A lot of y'all already heard about this. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to take that with me. Hold on. Okay. So anyway, what I got here is worm castings. You see how dark it is compared to the compost? The compost I dried out a little bit to keep the bugs out of here. But this worm castings is black, rich full of nutrients, and it's going to retain moisture as well. And it's just loaded with nutrients. So this is a main thing that's going to feed your plants the whole growing season. Between this and your compost, you're not going to have a problem. You won't need to fertilize, I promise you. You keep them things watered, and you mulch the pots with a good thick layer of mulch, then you will not have to worry about fertilizing. You might have a problem with some pests if you don't keep up with the pests, but it's very easier to control pests when you have a healthy plant, because your plant establishes its own form of defense when they're healthy. But they have basically like how when a healthy human has a strong immune system, well, plants kind of have the same thing. If you have a healthy plant, it has a strong immune system, and it builds up its own defenses against pests. And there's so many examples you can use to show you by different plants. Like, for example, this eggplant has thorns on the top of it. I'm kind of worried about that, but it actually has thorns on these eggplants. So you have to really be careful picking them. But that's its form of defense against predators. I guess humans, but they also have different, each plant has different protection from different pests. So the healthier the plant is, the more defense it has against those pests. So anyways, so that's it for the worm castings. Now I added all my ingredients. Now I'm almost out of worm castings in here, so I'm definitely gonna have to start a new bin up here, which I'll be doing soon. And now all I gotta do is mix this together. And normally you would have to pour water in, so that, like, when you use a dry potting mix like Miracle Grow or something, and you get it in peat moss and you mix the stuff together, well, it's really dry and you have a hard time soaking watering a plant. But with this soil mixture, you don't have to worry about it. I don't have to add water, which is really nice, because I hate trying to fill in the pots and filling this with wet soil. I like it being kind of dry. But when you go to water the plant, and you're going to see in a minute, after I finish mixing this together, you're not going to have to worry about the peat moss repelling the water and you not being able to get the plant to get wet. So you're going to have plenty of good absorption in this mix. This mix is really, really nice. It's going to soak straight through the pot, just like you would want with the potting mix. It's going to go all the way through the bottom of the pot. Well, of course, once it absorbs all the water. And the good thing is it doesn't go straight through all the way down. Okay. And another good thing is it doesn't go all the way down, just straight through without being absorbed into the soil. Like some mixes, if you have the wrong mix, it's just going to go straight to the bottom, and you're going to have all the water on the bottom of the tray and none of the water in the soil. And you don't want that. You want the soil to absorb the water. So that is one of the great things about this mix here. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'll just use straight compost or something. And I don't think that really would be a good mixture, because it's not a mix, first of all. but it's gonna have poor drainage. If you just use like straight 100% compost or peat moss, the drainage isn't going to be as good, and the absorption isn't going to be as good. So adding the ingredients will actually help the drainage, and it helps retain the moisture. But you're going to have your nutrients from the compost, the worm castings, and the potting soil. So you need to mix this really good. About halfway through, I need to turn this around. Mix this other half here. This is important. Mixing it, you gotta really mix it good, because that peat moss can't be in clumps. You don't want the peat moss to be in clumps. You don't want no clumps around here. You want a good mixture here. Now this is enough to do about, I'm working with bulk here, obviously. I could do like 100 of these little pots like this, and I really shouldn't be wasting all my good soil on these big, huge pots, but it is harder to grow plants in a pot like this. I would much rather grow plants in the soil, but I have a small backyard and I have hundreds of plants, so I need to utilize all my resources. Right now, I don't have a garden bed prepared, so I'm kind of just fighting to keep these things alive, and I'm about to show you how to tell the right time to put your plant in a bigger pot or to put your plant in another container. So let me show you one thing real quick. Alright, that's it. I got my mix. So these are my bell peppers. I don't know, I started them a while ago. They're looking pretty healthy. I got a lot of bell peppers, organic, big yellow bell peppers. So this came out of a yellow bell pepper, and it's organic. I bought it from Whole Foods, and the sprout was really, really nice. The germination was really, really nice. I got like three or four plants per cell here. I honestly don't know if I want to rip these apart and separate them into little pots like that, or if I just want to plant it whole like this and thin them out, because I love bell peppers. So anyways, when you look at the bottom here, you don't see any roots, and so these are not ready. They're not ready to be transplanted. These are going to be fine growing in this container for as long as you keep watering it for another 2 days. Alright, so that's how one way you know. Now, let me see. Okay, here's a good example of a plant that is ready. Okay, I'm going to try to show you and see if you can see. Okay, so you see the little white roots here. You can see the root in here, right there, and over here. Okay, now I'm going to show y'all an example of what it looks like when you take it out. Now, you just see a barely little root, right? And you're thinking, well, leave it in there or whatever. But no, you got to get this out right away, because this is the time to plant this in a bigger container or in the ground. So I'll show you how to plant later in the ground, but right now, obviously I'm showing y'all about potting mix, how to mix your soil. I want to show y'all the results I get from the soil here. Now I already filled this halfway up, the same mixture, but I ran out, so I wanted to show y'all how I did it. So I took y'all along with me. Now it's time to pot it up. What you do is you put your soil in here about to the rim, right under the rim, and you want to separate your soil so you'll have enough room for your plant. Now, this is a kale premier kale plant. And kale, I love kale. This isn't my favorite variety because of the pests. Now look at that one little root you saw. Look at all these roots here. It was just right on time. Now when you go to plant this, you might think just stick it in there and don't mess with the roots. But nah, what you want to do is just very gently push the roots in the corner away like that. And in the middle over here, just kind of separate the roots. And now what you're doing is so it doesn't keep on running in a circle. You don't want that. You want it to just, you don't want to disturb the roots too much. But that was enough. You saw basically they're not running in circles anymore. That's all you need to do. Now you put it into the plant, into the pot, and you don't touch it anymore. Now you just you don't compact it or nothing. You just kind of fill it in with soil, high as you can go. And maybe you could tuck it in a little bit on the sides. That's it. Now you got the plants in there. Now, this is not good. Okay, now you want to water it in right away. This is the stuff. You don't want to wait and plant like 10 at once and then water them. No, you water this thing in right away. And that's going to eliminate the stress of the transplant. This is very important because all it takes is a little while for you to neglect. Now look at the drainage here. There is no water sitting on top. It's absorbing itself into the soil mixture. It's not sitting on top. That's important. It's not sitting on top, and it's moist on the top. And the more you water it, it's not rushing down to the bottom of the pot and filling up this other tray either. So that's another good sign. They do have water in here from the other plants that I watered, but there's no water rushing straight to the bottom of this plant. It's being absorbed as it goes down into the soil in the pot. And that's what you want, because when the roots go down and the top part dry out, the plant's gonna send more roots down to look for water and fill up the container. So it's actually really important to make sure that you have water all the way down to the bottom of your pot here. And this is a critical time to water your plant properly at the beginning. This soil is really, really nice. It's beautiful. See how black it is? But the water is absorbing, it's going straight down all the way to the bottom, but it's being absorbed. It's probably like right about here by now. The water is just kind of just being absorbed into all that peat moss. Now that peat moss was dry. Remember, I didn't add the water before. But now's the time to wet it. So you need to really water this plant and wet it really good. That peat moss is absorbing this water, and it's just soaking it in. And it's probably getting a little bit lower, like right now, way down here. It might take you a few minutes to water this plant, but it's critical. Like I said, the roots are gonna they're gonna be looking for that water later on. The top of the layer where the roots are soaking up the water are gonna be dry, and especially if you don't water for a long time, like a couple days. Say you let this, I could probably let this dry out for 3 days after I water it in real good, 2 or 3 days, and it's not gonna hurt the plant. The plants are gonna send out roots to go deeper into the soil and look for that water that's way on the bottom right down here, and it's gonna make the plant stronger than if you just watered it every day, you know. But the good thing is that too much water, if you water this plant every day, it's not gonna hurt it either, because it's in a pot in the water with good drainage, and the pot is, any extra water is going to allow the go down to the bottom and leach out of the holes on the bottom. In the ground, it takes care of itself. But like, it's if you say I left it in the tray, and the tray has water in the bottom, this plant would die real quick if I leave this in soaking, sitting water down here. But with being in a pot, it's just going to keep the water, any extra water, is just going to keep flowing through the bottom. And it's not going to get soggy. The roots aren't going to get soggy. It's going to be fine. This mix is really nice. This plant's going to do really good. Some of these leaves that are hidden in the soil, you can take these off. Don't take off too many. Like, you could take these off, and I'm just going to take those 2 off because I don't want to take off too many. This plant is going to do really good. And that's about it. I'm going to leave that alone. It should be well watered by now. And it's going to really be nice because that plant, that soil has a lot of nutrients in it. And there's nothing wrong with this soil. So now we wait and we see. That was it. I showed you how I made my soil, and I watered it. I showed you how to water it, and later on I'm going to show you how I make my worm castings, and how I made my compost, and how I started my seeds or whatever. So as you can see, my seeds are doing great over here. My grow light. Let me show you. I started these seeds here. These are all peppers. Maybe like a week ago, about a week ago. And yeah, they're looking good. They're all strong and healthy. Now I planted a lot of seed in here, cause if you sow a lot, you reap a lot. If you sow a little, you reap a little. Well, I wanted to sow a lot, so I see, like this cell, I sowed like maybe 4 seeds or 5 seeds or something in all of these cells. But I still have a couple cells that don't have any, or that just have one sprout. And when you're just taking a chance every time you do it with used old seed or whatever, you're gonna have some that don't sprout. So now I had to come back and thin these out or separate them, because they're not gonna do well growing together. But that's just how I do it. I would rather waste seed than waste soil, because the seed is easier to get than soil. I can get thousands of seeds, but it's gonna cost money to make soil. This soil I made was cheap, but it still costs money to make the soil, and you need so much of it. Each plant needs a lot of soil to grow right. So you see all the soil that one plant took? That's why it's so good to plant it in the ground, and you have the soil inside of the ground is unlimited, and you don't have a problem. But anyway, I'm going to stop there and end this video, because it's long, and I just made my point. I showed y'all the soil mixture and how good it does. And later on, I'll show y'all how, how I made my compost. I'll show y'all the results of this plant here, and how these plants are doing. Hopefully they're doing good, and I keep watering them right. And yep, y'all have a blessed day, and thanks for watching.